The ship had always been her home, a place of refuge and purpose. The naval aircraft carrier where she had spent the last 6 years of her life was more than just steel and engines to her. It was a symbol of everything she had worked for, fought for, sacrificed for. But today, everything was different. She had always known that military life wasn't for the faint of heart. It was brutal, unforgiving. You could give your all, yet still be dismissed without a second thought. She had seen it happen to others, her comrades who had given everything for the Navy, only to be thrown aside as if they never mattered. But she never thought it would happen to her. She had served with distinction. She had faced every challenge with resolve and grit. She was proud of her service. But as she walked down the cold metallic hallways today, she realized something was wrong. They were coming for her. It started with a simple call, a summons to the captain's office. No explanation, no reason. The message was terse, and there was no room for questioning. She followed the order, heart pounding, knowing deep down that something terrible was about to unfold. When she arrived at the captain's office, they didn't speak. No explanation was given. There was no acknowledgement of her service, of her dedication. Instead, she was simply escorted out, as though she were nothing more than a piece of equipment being removed from service. They didn't even look her in the eye. As they walked her off the carrier, there were no words, no apologies. She had become invisible to them. All those years of loyalty, all the late nights, all the sacrifices, gone without so much as a second glance. But as she stepped off the carrier, her heart heavy with confusion and hurt, she saw something unexpected. It was the Submarine, an imposing, silent vessel that had just docked alongside the ship. And there, standing on the pier, was the submarine's captain. He had been watching her quietly from the distance. The officers from the carrier didn't say a word. They didn't acknowledge the submarine's presence, or the captain standing just a few feet away. But he saw her. He saw the injustice, and he wasn't about to let her walk away without the respect she deserved. The submarine captain broke protocol. He walked over to her, stepping away from the formal lines that governed his world. The crew members around him watched in silence, but no one stopped him. The weight of the moment was heavy, but it wasn't just on her. It was on him, too. He looked at her, his face hard but filled with understanding. Without a word, he gestured for her to follow him. His actions spoke louder than any words could. He had seen what she had done. He had witnessed her sacrifices, even if the Navy hadn't, and he wasn't going to let her go without offering something that the ship had denied her. The officers didn't stop them. There was nothing they could do. The submarine captain had broken every rule in the book, but it didn't matter. He knew that sometimes the rules were wrong. Sometimes you had to stand up for what was right. As they walked away together, she realized that her journey was far from over. It wasn't about the carrier anymore. It wasn't about the people who had turned their backs on her. It was about finding her worth in a world that had tried to erase it. And the submarine captain, a man who didn't need to do what he was doing, had reminded her of that. Sometimes, the greatest acts of courage don't come from the front lines. Sometimes, they come from someone who is willing to break protocol for what is right. And in that moment, as they walked toward the submarine, she knew that she wasn't alone anymore. She had been seen, and that made all the difference.